Good evening all. Today we'll be looking into some of the essential nodes here on anything. I will take two major nodes and then tomorrow we'll take one more before we go into other things. Today there are some essential nodes in anything, including the if node, the edit fields, the loop, the filter. These are nodes that are essential to in anything, that if you actually start to automate workflows frequently, you will eventually need them, or you will eventually run into them. So for now, we're just going to start with the if node. Let's just start with a manual trigger. So as I said, edit fields is one of them. Edit field is just a node that you use to customize whatever it is that you want. You can just use, is either you want to put a name or you want to put an array of objects. So we're just going to use JSON. We're not going to use manual mapping, we're going to use JSON. As we already know what JSON is. In this place within my field, we are going to impute, let's use, for this example, let's say first name, and the value here would be, let me use my name, that's John. Second field, let's say middle name, is that correct? Yeah, middle name. Let's see, Henry. Alright, so that's it. If we execute this, okay, they say that there's a problem in our node. Okay, yeah. There is still a problem in our node. Let me see. Oh, lost connection to the server. I think, okay, there is a network problem here. We are having a little network issue. Let's see. Yeah. So fortunately, network has been restored, and if we try executing this workflow right now, you see that we have first name John, middle name Henry. So the next thing we want to do is we want to add another node, edit fields. What we want this to do is, if first name is John, we want to get a price of 100 marks. So let's say price equals to 100. Oh, sorry. Price is equals to 100. Alright, so in between these two edit fields, all we want to do is we want to add an if node. Now if is more like a conditional statement. If you want a workflow to proceed towards one direction, you use either one of two directions. You can use an if node. So now what we want to achieve here is that if the first name, the value first name here is equals to John, we want it to proceed to the true. We want it to proceed as true and then go ahead and give him a price of 100. and if it proceeds, and if it is not true, we want it to go ahead and give a price of let's say 50, right? So if we run this workflow right now, considering the fact that the first name here is equals to John, then this will have to proceed through the true. So that means, if we look at it now, the workflow has proceeded and it is true. Let's make it a little bit bolder. Now we see that it's executed, and what we have here is that the price is 100. Now imagine if we change this name now, and first name is no longer equals to John. Let's say first name is Peter, and we try this again. It will no longer execute through the true node, rather it will go through the false node because it doesn't meet the condition. So reward we get is 50. So with this, I believe we understand what the if node is and what the if node does. So we're just going to separate this. Let's separate this for now and move this away. We're going to try out the filter node. So for this filter node, we are going to use an array of names. We're going to use an array names. Going to use an array of names. We have John, Mary, and Grace. So these are the names, and if we execute this workflow, we have an array of names, which is one is John, Mary, and Grace. So we want to use the filter node. Say filter. Now what this does is it filters out some certain things, just like the if node. The if node proceeds, has two directions that it can actually proceed towards, either the false or the true. But this if node, on the other hand, just completely stops the entire workflow if the condition is not met. You only proceed with the workflow if or when the condition is actually met. So let's say if first name rather not first name, if name has John in it, this is wrong. Alright, as we can see, we have run into an error, so we're going to script change this. If the name John is here, you want it to proceed. And as you can see, the workflow successfully executed. But if we used a name, let's say Jason first name is equals to Alex. Let's try to execute this. If we come here, we'll find out that it didn't execute. Why? The workflow stopped here. Why? Because it doesn't recognize, the filter doesn't recognize the name Alex. So let's say we put in an edit field here. I want it to carry out an action. That if manual mapping JSON price equals to 1. All we want it to do is, if it actually is one of the names here, and one of the names here is John, we want it to proceed and give us an output that says you won. So now immediately give us that output. Why? Because okay, price, you won, because John is amongst the names that is found in this array right here. We can also see it right here. But if the name changes and becomes Alex, this is the most basic way I can actually explain this, because this is not actually the best way to explain this, but it's the basic way to explain it, since most of us watching this are beginners at this point. If the name is Alex, as you can see, it stops here, the workflow stops, there's execution stops here and doesn't get to this point. So this is just a basic explanation of the if node, how the if node works, and how the if node works, how the filter node works, and what the edit fields is actually used for. In real life, we can actually decide to do this. Let's say we decide to send, let's just link this to this. We decide to change this from an array see, maintain it being first name. It gives us a value of John, as we initially did. Middle name. This is the value of Henry. If we execute this, yeah, first name, middle name, Henry. So if we were to execute this, so now want if first name is equals to John and the output is true, in real life we can just decide to send an email John. So email send, yeah. I want to send an email to John. Saying congratulations. I want this to be text. So you just $100 I'm going to append anything. So basically what this means is that whenever this proceeds through the true, an email will be sent to John. As you can see, this email has been sent to John, and this email has been successfully sent to John. We can go ahead and check that in our email, but for now we don't want to do that because we already know that the email will be sent to John. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll be looking into, I just wanted to make today a very short look into other similar nodes. So that's it for today. Have a wonderful day. See you tomorrow in day 8.